All right, all right, all right, you loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of Agency Intelligence Podcast, where I give you that real agency intelligence and not the artificial that they try to make you believe out there. This is Cass, and I am back with Dan and a guy who's definitely cooler than Dan because his name is Jason. And so it's Jason Massey and Dan Garzella. Did I say that right, Dan?
You sure did.
Ah, damn it. I've been known to butcher them. Not known. That's like what I do. So I mean, come on, guys.
Luckily, it was pretty easy for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. And is it Massey or Macy? Is that how we say it, Jason?
You got it the first time, Massey.
Okay, Massey. All right. You know, I think you guys would answer to anything. But anyways, hey, these are insurance accountants, okay? Now, why I think this is cool is, first of all, they're coming to Indy Tech. So if you're listening to this and you're coming to Indy Tech, you're one of the first 400 people that's coming. They want to talk to you. I heard they're giving out free drinks and lotto tickets and all kinds of shit. That's an absolute lie. But let's just act like it's true. You guys need to
Jason's
come by.
Paying for him.
What'd you say?
So Jason's paying
I got this
for him.
one.
Jason's paying for these. Here's why I like this, right? Because you guys, probably a lot of places you go, are the only like insurance accountants that are at our event. Like if you're a management system or you're a VE company or something, there's like, tons of competitors. You guys kind of have the floor wide open. And the other thing is, this is one of the things we got to do at an insurance agency that sucks. You know what I mean? And there's nobody good out there that does it. And they all claim that they do this good job, but you guys decided to tackle it. So good for you. I'm going to start over here with you, Dan, because you started this roughly around, my research says 2014-ish. Is that right?
Yeah. So I started my original retail brokerage in 2014, which kind of, I ran into the accounting challenges that everyone has. At the time, we were a much smaller brokerage, and kind of the evolution and the way the story goes is, at the time we were a smaller brokerage, and I had my sister was handling all of our accounting, agency bill, direct bill, all of that. And she had came to me and said, hey, I'm pregnant with my first child and I'm going to be gone in, whatever it was, 6-7 months. And so I said, okay, I've got about 6 or 7 months to kind of learn the accounting, the processes and all that at the level she did. And over that 6 or 7 months, I did nothing. and then she was gone. And that was probably the worst. I don't know what it was. I'll say 2 to 4 weeks plus of my insurance career, figuring all that out, putting all the pieces together, making sure everything gets paid. And I from that time on, she came back and said, I will never do that again. So the first thing I did is, I went to an accounting firm, right? You would think, they do accounting, professional firm, decent sized company, and found out real quick that they knew accounting, they didn't know insurance accounting. They didn't understand agency bill, they didn't understand the mechanics between the retail brokerage, the wholesale brokerage, GA, of course the insurance companies, all the pieces that go in, the transactional nature and all that fun stuff. They did an okay job at kind of putting the pieces together, but not a great job. And then I decided, you know what, maybe I'll go with a bigger accounting firm, because they've got to know how to get it done. And so I went there, and it cost me twice as much. And they still, the challenge is they try to take your systems and processes and put it into their process, and instead of them basically adopting yours and running it the way the insurance brokerage needs to be ran. Mm-hmm. So I did that for a while, and I said, you know what, I'm bringing it back in-house. And again, that's one of the barriers to scaling is accounting. Like, you can get to a certain point, but you really need the numbers to be dialed in as you grow and evolve. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to create an insurance accounting company. And that was, I don't know when that thought came, maybe 2017, wow. 2018. And I started laying the groundwork of what that could look like. I built it internally, all the functions and the systems. And then, fast forward to, 3-4 years ago, I brought Jason in from American Express with a wealth of real high level experience. And really, that was kind of really the catalyst for us to, put all the pieces in place, battle tested internally with all of our insurance related companies. We're a pretty decent sized organization now. And then and then there it is, and then offer it, of course, commercially to the market.
So there's 3 types of accounting in the world. This is my funny thing of saying. There's regular accounting, there's government accounting, and then there's insurance accounting, right? You can't do the government accounting. Only the government can do that shit, or you'll go to jail and shit. But I mean, the accounting is important, and it's wild that you took that on. I know that you kind of have other verticals, which makes sense now. You're kind of like me. You're like, man, no one's good at this. I could probably do this and I could probably solve a problem for the industry. But then you even got smarter and said, I'm going to go get Jason. So Jason, you're over here. You worked with Amex and you were like a financial controller or something for them. Tell us what you did there and what you're doing now.
True. So maybe those 3 accounting pillars that you talked about, I've done all 3. I've been in governmental accounting, corporate accounting, and now insurance accounting. So I got them all covered. But yeah, no, I spent 10 years at American Express with varying roles, bouncing all through different controllership teams. I started at the very bottom after working for a CPA firm. So I started as an accountant 1, bounced across different teams, got promoted into accounting manager roles. And the idea behind it was, that's how Amex worked. It was very organic. In order to get into the director position or VP, it was always organic. They never went outside. So you go in, you take roles, different controllership roles, learning all sorts of things about the business, and then you get promoted. So I reached this point where I'd been promoted to an accounting manager, taken 3 accounting manager positions, and the next thing was I'm going to go be a director. So I had gone through and tried to get promoted as a director there, and they do a director carousel many times. So a lot of times it's very hard to get promoted up into director. So after being denied 3 times on those positions, I'm like, all right, my career here, I believe it's over. I'm going to start looking outside. And right at that time, and I had messaged Dan, I said, hey, I'm going to come and sell insurance for you. And he's like, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I have something for you. He gave me a call. And he's like, I have this idea about insurance accountants. The problem is I don't have an accountant to do it. And I'd like to, discuss this with you a little bit further and see what you can do with it. So it was at that time.
How'd you guys know each other?
Well,
we know each other from college.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We were friends.
So the story we were talking earlier.
Yeah, we were talking about this shit. I didn't realize how close I was at. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
I just kind of grinned when you said that. But, we're very career oriented. Dan, I had his background with like computer programming and all the other stuff. I don't understand that. I tried that in college and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. Accounting was it. But yeah, when Dan proposed the idea of, insurance accountants, I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm like, so what do you have? And he's like, well, I have the idea and it's on paper, we got to build it. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, because where I'm at in my career at Amex, I was kind of stuck. I didn't want to be another accounting manager for 3-4 more years. So I'm like, all right, let's just try this out. Let's go do it. Didn't have any insurance background. I had to jump in. There was nobody there to train me, which was the awesome part. So, and
I feel like I've trained you a lot.
I think that was actually better because I ended up having to jump in, learn everything about insurance, how it works, the ins and outs, reporting where, you when an invoice and gets created here, what happens downstream. So I spent 3 months just, looking at the system, running reports, really understanding how things work. And that's when I became an expert in applied ethics, so much of an expert that my door opens all day long and everybody having problems with something. So I got to always fixing something. But so from there, we built out, the team for Garzella Group and then further expanded that into insurance accountants where we're going out, flagging people that have the agency management experience. Because I'll tell you what, you can be an accountant, you can be a superior accountant, but if you do not understand any of these agency management systems, right, you're no help. That's right. You're no help to us. That's so, right.
And so you guys specialize in, tell us how many management systems do you guys work with?
Right now we're focused on the big 3, Applied Epic, AMS 360, EasyLinks, right? And as we grow, we're going to start targeting some of the other management systems, HawkSoft, but right now we're focused on the 3. We've been to a number of different events where we've gone out, talked to independent agents, and everybody complains about the same thing. It's, accounting. I don't understand accounting and I don't want to do accounting. So, what do you guys do? And then we, talk to them about our services, and they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of the problem is if you're not some big giant firm, you kind of get put aside a lot of times, right? I've been to a couple of firms where it's been an absolute nightmare. I just finally brought in my own person, and I probably pay more than I probably should, right? Because you guys are a third of the cost, and you're getting more of the professionalism there. But I was with a firm in North Carolina, which a lot of my agency friends had referred me to. But yeah, those they were all big, right? We're only 11 people. These guys were referring me out. We're like 30, 40, 50 people. So I felt like I got put on the side. Seems like you get a new person in all the time that you're having to train more than they're having, but then they trained because they didn't provide any training. So that's big. And then I guess by you guys doing applied and Vertifor or AMS 360 specifically, you guys have like 70% of the market, because they have that. So that makes sense. So you obviously, that's the reason why you find Indy Tech interesting,
Yeah.
I guess, because if you guys are really focused on that, Dan, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say 100%. Indy Tech just kind of popped into my email, and someone brought it to my attention. I started looking into it, and I was like, oh man, this is great. From what I recall, 400 plus independent agencies. There's a huge demand for the solution. Even the big firms, have come to us in some capacity, inquiring, needing help on something. May not be the full boat of services, but it may be a service. I think that you kind of alluded to it before, like the redundancy is super important. Even if you're kind of up and coming, if you got a key person, the key person's gone tomorrow, like that's a problem. Right. And then of course the cost structure is big too. But yeah, there's a huge demand and huge need in the industry for it. In the agency management systems and their accounting software is, I guess Jason could speak to it more than me, but it's complex, and you just don't get to bring someone in and they just get to go, intuitively figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. And usually you're probably having to clean the shit up at the beginning, which is probably a nightmare. I can only imagine, man. Hey, Jay, from working with Amex and stuff like that, which brings a lot of credibility. It really, truly does. You see any similarities? What is the expertise you feel as if that you can bring into these agencies coming from there?
So, accounting is accounting. We have standards to follow, but it's my time at Amex. They have 10 times systems integrating into systems, right? So in my transition over into this was I'll say a bit easier for me because I have always had to go get into a position, learn how each piece integrates into the other, which is the same thing like with Applied Epic. So the way that's how it translated, I jumped in, start looking at how that system interfaces, and then potentially how any other APIs can integrate into it. So I think my accounting experience, it was great. I got everything over there, but what translated was really understanding how systems work.
So there's two different types of jobs I guess you guys have to do though, right? One is keeping an agency like me under compliant, making sure that my shit balances. But then there also comes a point in time where it's like, hey, how do you help me grow?
Yeah.
Right? How do you help me look at these numbers to make sense? I'm an insurance guy, right? I know how to assess risk and help customers with that and find the best product for them. But like I'm speaking on behalf of me and all the loyal listeners listening. Is that something you guys find your strategy in, is saying, hey, look at doing things this way?
Yeah. So, the types of services that we offer, we'll call it basic level 1 and level 2 type of accounting services. Level 1 really captures anything that's insurance related, your direct bill commissions, reconciliations, managing anything agency bill related, the payments coming in, reconciling the customer account, paying the carriers and stuff. Now you started talking about scalability. Then you start moving into like level 2. We're going to take care of all your vendors payable, do your financial reporting at the end of every month. Anything that you can think of that's accounting related, we can handle. And then outside of that, now if you start saying, okay, that's great, I can see how we closed out January, how we closed out March, how we closed out the year. Now I want to start looking into the future. Forecasting is also a service that we can add on to it, where we can go and look at your agency. What's the best way to predict, the outcomes over the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever, you know what I mean? That way you can scale. And then you have the option of scalability because you have us as a resource. Whereas, if you just had one accountant working for your agency, maybe they don't have the bandwidth to do that, whereas we do. As your company grows, we grow with you, and we have the ability to add on additional headcount if it requires it.
Now, curious, like, okay, so the end of the year comes and you guys have been doing all of my payable, receivable, commissions, all that. Do you guys have in-house accountants that then can be our CPA and actually file our taxes, or is that something you guys push
So
off?
we do partner with a CPA firm that will do the taxes. So yes, it is
Okay.
something that we have within the options in there.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see agents making out there? I know this kind of puts you on the spot, but welcome to the podcast. What are some things that you see that agents are making the same mistake all the time, and that you can constantly, it's like, oh God, here comes another one. And it's okay. You can embarrass us because we don't know, but I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of agents that are listening to this that don't realize they're making that mistake. Got any
Yeah.
thoughts,
Well,
Dan?
I'll yeah, I mean, I'll talk to you. I'm more the insurance agent, right, rather than the accountant.
Okay. Okay.
So there's a whole not knowing your numbers, thinking you know where the money's at, but maybe not knowing where the money's at. The speed of the accounts payable and the accounts receivable, like all that stuff matters. You need to be able to know and document the money coming in, the money coming out, and I could tell you that there's a lot. I mean, even like from an acquisition standpoint, like I'll go and look at agencies to potentially acquire. More often than not, their books are a mess. They can't get me financial information I need, not within like a day, but like talk to 6 months, the last one I was looking at, in order to get just basic profit loss data and things of that nature. So I think that, a lot of agents do the best they can, and a lot of times it's functional, like it's
Mm-hmm.
working. But when you're, again, looking to scale, like you got to have that stuff as dialed in as possible. And so I think there's a lot of attention to detail that gets missed. I also think that there's a lot of, again, when you're growing and scaling, you've got your profit loss and you start getting this revenue, being able to pay attention to the expenses, almost for like from an audit standpoint, like what is that charge doing there? Who's responsible for canceling that? Why have we been paying for that for the last 8 months?
Good call
Just
on
stuff
that.
like
Yeah.
that. There's just
Mm-hmm.
little stupid things that pop up. There's also, you relate to commission reconciliation and commission rules and all the stuff that comes with the actual producers that are writing the business. An impact in their money is a problem. It creates a headache for the agency, for the employee, and then that headache can spread if it's not reconciled quickly and you don't have an answer for it. So, and that's just on the employee side. You start getting with vendors and general agents and all that type of stuff. Again, manageable, functional, at a small level, but from growing and scaling, it becomes problematic. And even if you're holding all the pieces together, you're probably not having fun doing it. And you're probably, if you're trying to do it in house, your in-house cost is more than at least our us being the our outsource costs, and the redundancy. So there's just a lot of challenges and concerns around it. And again, you're an insurance agent. I'm an insurance agent. Like, I don't want to do the accounting.
Mm-hmm. Dan, you had a pretty good, strong background in agency with farmers. What made you decide that you wanted to come over to the independent world? What was that?
So with farmers, great career there. I had effectively capped out the business model. I mean, farmers in the captive world is it's a great business, but you kind of lose your creativity in it because you're, beaten to the drum of the company and what they want you to sell and how they
Makes
want to sell
sense.
you and when they want you to sell it. And at the time I was 32, and I was, top 5 out of 15,000 agents for commercial production. But then, a shift in their business model translated to a shift in my business model, and I couldn't make good on any of the commitments I had made to the people that helped me get there. And so I eventually got to a point to where I was like, all right, I got two options. I went to the team. I said, option one is, most of you will probably be gone at some point, and then I can grow by acquisition, small farmers agencies, and then just be miserable and uninspired in the process. Or I can start over from zero, take the money from the sale, plus my employees, plus a business loan, and just go. And that's what we did, and that was the evolution of the OG, retail branch, the Garzella Group, and then that spawned into several insurance related verticals, and it's been a pretty incredible experience. But yeah, I just effectively kept out the business model. Couldn't make good on the commitments to the people that helped me got there, and I wanted to play a bigger game.
Well, congratulations leaving the dark side. Jason, one of the things, let's talk about those two letters that everybody talks about today. You not taking away from Dan, but you kind of talk about the tech highly. AI.
Yeah.
How do you really see people, and how is your business utilizing AI in ways that can kind of help you, or they help themselves?
So, I mean, I relate. So AI, I think if you do not grab a hold of it and run with it, you're going to get left behind. You know,
Amen to
they're all
that.
finding ways to use it. They're saying, "Oh, AI is going to make you dumber." It's not going to make you dumber. It's making you more efficient, so you can spend time that's more value added into the business
Mhm.
itself. There's AI
Amen.
tools out there that we're currently exploring how to integrate it into Garzella Group right now. Some of the commission matching and auto carrier, the receiving of payments from carriers and insured and stuff. But I definitely
Mhm.
feel that AI has a space in the insurance industry and in the accounting field itself. Accounting's kind of, you know, hit or miss as far as like how good it is, because accounting's very fact based, matchup, 100% matchup. If it doesn't match up, 1-to-1, then it's going to require somebody else to hop in there and actually manually manipulate it. So I do think that AI has its space in the accounting world. We're still trying to find ways to integrate it into our agency right now.
Jason, I'm going to come back to you, and Dan, I'm going to ask you the same question. What financial systems or KPIs, let's say, do you think that every agency owner should focus on to have a healthy business, Jason?
KPIs? I mean,
Yeah. Key performance indicators. I know. And hey, loyal listeners, I'm throwing this shit at them. I didn't give them time to think about this, you know?
I think one of the big, obviously, it's premium. If we're talking about on the producer side, it's going to be premium
Mhm.
written by producer per year, right? That's a huge one. I think
Amen to
those
that.
targets, we
Agree to
set
that.
those targets out there. So we try to offer, salaries and wages that are reasonable, so that after a year or
Oh, that's
two of
helpful.
being invested into the company, the income that they're bringing in, is greater than the salary that we're paying out, right? So I think the KPIs, we set those targets. They got to achieve those to break even, and then there's the understanding that there's going to be growth that's going to come from that, right?
Okay. Okay. For not being the agency guy, that was pretty good,
Yeah,
Jay.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I would say, like Jason said initially, nothing happens until a policy is
yeah.
sold. So the KPIs, and again, it all goes into the accounting, but a policy has to be sold. You need new business quotes. Let's just look at the ground floor. You got to have the quotes. If you have the quotes, then naturally, the rest will follow, unless you're really terrible at what you do, in which case you're probably not there for very long. So I think it all
Mhm.
starts with quote volume and creating opportunities, and then of course you've got your close ratio, cross sell ratio, retention ratios. All those types of things that are pretty, hopefully should be pretty well known on the agency side of the fence. And then of course that all translates and pushes over to the accounting side. So it's great to write it, but you want to get paid, and you want to get paid quickly, and you want to get paid accurately.
Mhm.
And I think that's what feeds into the accounting piece. And I think from an AI perspective, again, it's continuously, continuously evolving. We're heavily invested in different capacities. I think from, an accounting perspective, if you've got data that's in the system and you know where the data is supposed to go, the AI matches the data and then really determines where's the mismatch or data collision, or however you want to phrase it, to then take that and automatically piece that out for then the accountant to review. So instead of reviewing, pretty much everything, the AI is smart enough to take everything and whittle it down to really the need, and then you can take that need and reconcile it from
Yeah.
there. So I think that's all completely doable, and it's coming, and it's something that we're investing in and we'll look to solve for.
Loyal listeners, you hear that? We got a new phrase, data collision. Look at Dan over there writing Webster's dictionary as we do the podcast. I'll tell you that. That's good shit. All right. Hey, want to ask you a couple more questions, and then, well, actually about one. Just let's get more into the business real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up. So I come to you guys. Do I get my own person? Do I get Jason? Or you guys have a team of people? Do I get a dedicated person? Do they do commissions, but they do, payables? How's that
So it
work?
depends on size. So the one thing we do promise is redundancy, so that if let's say we have two of our insurance accountants that are assigned to your account. one of them is going to go on vacation at some point, I hope. Otherwise, they're going to get sick of their job. Still have somebody else that's going to be there to support it. And if you're saying one on agency bill and one on direct bill, again, it depends on size. If your agency is big enough to where it really needs a dedicated resource on the direct bill commissions and dedicated over on agency bill, then that's how it'll be. And of course, with redundancy itself. But I mean, we take on agencies that are small enough so that one person can do both sides of the job, or if it's too large, then we have 1, 2, 3 people assigned to it.
Gotcha. Yep. That makes sense. Dan, anything you want to add about your business? Something that you're proud of about the insurance accountants, maybe that we didn't speak of or anything?
Well, I mean, I think that the important part is, we're experts in 3 verticals on just the agency side. So your typical retail branch, your program business, and then also your network or aggregator. So, I've built all 3, and there's of course accounting that's related to all 3 of those, and a lot of we'll call it gymnastics that may need to occur to manage all of those. And Jason's the more limber one on the call, and he's the one doing all of that. But yeah, from a company standpoint, we're in a lot of verticals, and that verticals gives us the knowledge base based on what we've battle tested over the last 3 years translates into the solution that we're providing to the market. And I started Scratch Farmers Insurance Agency at the age of 23, so insurance is all I've done, and so that experience is pushed out into this this business, this company, which is insurance accountants, and then of course brings the expertise of a former financial controller for North and South America for American Express.
And then you own Darkhorse Insurance Services, is that right? Our brokers?
Yeah, so I own of course Garzella Group, which is now rebranded as Arcstone. That's our Garzella Group's a holding company now. So it's Arcstone, Avalon Risk Management. That's our program business.
See that?
Darkhorse.
Lower NTD DTI?
Lower my DTI.com.
Okay.
That's a tool right now. Long term, that'll be a leads company.
Okay. And then you have your insurance accountants. Okay. Yeah. You sound a lot like me. Like you find things that somebody's not doing well, or, hey, I think I can do it better, and I'm gonna try to do that. That's an entrepreneur, Dan.
Yeah, called a problem first approach. I look at the problem. First identify the problem.
Problem first innovation mindset is what I found out there about you.
There you go. I didn't even know that. It must be on our newsroom somewhere.
It is.
But yeah. So solve the problem, and then if it's a big enough problem, can you monetize it? And it's already a problem. I have to solve it regardless. So even if I have to invest a lot of money into it, and for whatever reason, it's not a big enough problem to solve to bring to market. Well, I'm not losing anything on that because I still had to solve it. So in my mind, it's relatively easy, although I know it's not easy. But
and if it's still a problem and I had to spend my time to solve it, obviously no one else is, so I might as well help other people. What I found out there, it said that your problem first innovation mindset, using technology and systematic tools to solve real industry challenges, including early adoption of automation and AI for operation efficiency and growth. That's what the world's saying about you, Dan. Now, if I asked your wife, she'd probably say something different. But right now, we're talking about business, so we'll just keep it.
Well, she wouldn't say anything because I'm not married.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Yes. Okay. Well, see, the son of it didn't tell me that.
There you go.
It didn't tell me that. Okay, good. Well, now you're even smarter than I thought. All right. So, hey, man, I appreciate both of you guys. I really, truly did. I look forward to seeing you. I wouldn't really brag about the fact that it's in Florida where it's warm, because you guys are in Scottsdale where it's warm. It's probably chilly to you, but anybody else in America goes there right now. It's freaking warm. I'm sitting here freezing my butt off, and you guys are in short sleeve shirts with your collars popped. So, that tells me a lot about what's going on. But as we close up, anything you guys want to say? Anything last minutes, 30 seconds, Dan, 30 seconds, Jason, you go first, Dan.
Yeah, just thanks for having us. I'm really looking forward to couple weeks
2
now.
weeks.
Yeah.
To the event, weeks. And yeah, I'm just happy to meet everyone and appreciate you having us on. And solving the world's problems as it relates to insurance accounting. So
that's good. That's good. I started Indy Tech for the same reason you do. There's really truly into technology show for independent insurance agents. There's Applied Net if you have Applied. There's Accelerate if you have Vertifor. There's Hug, which is Hawksoft Users Group if you have Hawksoft. But no one's really just said, hey, and I call it Switzerland. You'll hear me talk about it from the stage, that it's a place where it doesn't matter how big or who you're with. Let's come together. And if you really think about it, it's really cool, right? Like you go to another event, a Big Eye show of Arizona or something like that. You've got 400 people that walk in, 500, 200. Most of them are coming there for CE. They're coming there to maybe find a new homeowner carrier or some kind of aggregator. Very rarely is somebody coming in there because they're looking for some type of technology. This is 400 people who are flying in from across America, spending thousands of dollars just to talk about technology. I think that's really, really exciting, man. And I'm glad to have you guys. Jason, last 30 seconds here to wrap us up.
Yeah, I'd echo the same Dan said. I appreciate you having us on here. It was a really great conversation. And looking forward to being out in Florida and checking out some of the different tech that's out there. I'm definitely going to be rotating around all the different tables, see what I can find to bring over at Garzella Group.
There's some cool stuff. Yeah, that is true, Dan. You get the kind of still come out there as insurance accountants, but also being an insurance guy and having your age. There's a lot of technology.
Oh yeah, there's a ton there. Every time I go to one of those conferences, I learn something. I bring back something to my agency that's going to help me move the ball forward. Meet some great people that'll help me move the ball. So it's just a win all the way around. I've never went to a conference that I didn't get something out of it. And so, I'm looking forward to it. I know Jason's looking forward to it too.
Hey, well, all you loyal listeners, you know that I do what I do because I do it for you. Tell me your thoughts and tell me your ideas, and I'm going to tell the world what you have to say. That's Jason. He's cool because he's got a great name, and that's Dan. He's cool because he's got dark hair that we're all jealous of. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.